Eventually. Oh, there it
Eventually.
is. Yes, there it is.
Oh my God. Wait, good morning, Nita.
Good morning, Daphne.
Oh my goodness. What a morning. What a morning.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. It is January 30th.
No!
2023.
Icky.
Yes.
No, I am so I'm so over 2023 already.
Yeah, 2023.
But maybe, I don't know, but maybe there might be some hope on the horizon. I don't want to use the word hope. I don't like using the word hope. Hope is for people who want to win the lottery. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Things are just strange. Things are just
totally strange. You ready to do this?
May you have interesting times. No, but go ahead. Hit it.
The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors.
Oh, hello there. You just caught me in the middle of making a drink. While I'm doing that, here's a disembodied voice that'll talk to you about what this commercial is about.
Shots with Comics is a comic show on the Indie Comics Network after dark. Join some drunk people as they talk about what's going on in the comic world, what comics they are reading, and of course, all cohole. Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Indie Comics Network after dark. We will offend, anger, and make you uncomfortable. Join us, unless you are a wasp.
Wow. All right, where's that cover card? There it is. Woo! There you are.
Yeah, we're getting a lot too many cards. I wish there was a way to organize the StreamYard better. So
there would be a simple way, but StreamYard wants to charge you an extra $200 a month to do it.
Oh, that's gross. That's gross. Oh my God. So
look, hey, Rue's in the chat. Rue.
Oh, hello, Rue.
We got your email.
Yes.
We are totally going to answer you.
Yes.
We're going to research it first.
Right. Exactly. No, really. It's like, I'm going to see if I can talk to a couple of people who ran some of those fanzines that you're talking about, that you were asking about, and see what their take is on it. So, it's like, every time I see the Shots with Comics, promo, I always think it's like, damn, it's like, that whole thing where it says nothing classes, a place up like a British accent, except for that. Except for that.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, sexy pickles do not get classed up with a British accent. Oh my goodness, yeah. So other than Rue, who else is joining us this?
Chad.
That's Chad, of course.
The only people that want to talk to us.
Well, it is Monday morning. It's like, I almost said Friday because I have the wrong Post-it in front of me. Yeah, it is Monday morning. Like I said, I am just over this year. Just over it. And yes, and I do see you, the three people who are watching us from regions beyond. Thank you so much. Yes, and if you're watching us from Facebook, if you're watching us from Twitter, come on over to YouTube. Join the join Rue and Chad in the chat. Keep them company, And while you're over here, it's a hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit all the buttons, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live with any of our shows. I guess it's like I might as well just get the introduction started before I start rambling. But it's like, hello, my name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since in 1992, and I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales, which is currently on Kickstarter as we speak. Tall Tales, the Peacekeepers, collecting the 3-issue miniseries in one remastered volume. And last I checked, we were $20 away from breaking 2K. So thank you, everybody who supported the campaign so far. And I am also known for my medieval fantasy soap opera drama, Eagle Raven, Heir the First Unicorn, which returns to Kickstarter late spring 2023 with issue 6. Issue 6. Can you believe it? I'm already at issue 6. I can't believe it.
Check out this cover.
I know, really.
Well, this postcard.
This is going to be a postcard image that Jaden Lanning really rocked it again, this time around. I mean, really, I just can't get enough of her work. And in the meantime, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILS online.com and egoworks.com. And speaking of Tall Tales, again, starting February 1st, I will be serializing Tall Tales, Tears of the Mother, the latest Tall Tales story arc on the website at Tall Tales Online. Daily uploads from Monday through Friday, so we can finally get this this next adventure, this next chapter in this epic fantasy adventure since 1992. We can get it back on track. So starting February 1st, if you want to check out the latest story arc, it will be serialized on the Tall Tales Online website, so you can check it out there for free. And mind you, along with the first 20 issues of Tall Tales Thieves Quest is on the website already. So if you missed anything, you can go ahead and read it on the website for free as well. And then come on over to Kickstarter and support the campaigns while you're at it. So, and yes, and always you can check out my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, Lage Art, and which simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. And to tell you more about that part of that side of the web that we're on, here's Nita Lanning.
Smile and wave, boys.
Smile and wave.
Beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Nobody's on my last goddamn nerve. Okay. Good morning. My name is Nita Lanning. I am the producer of the Indie Comics Network and Indie Comics Network After Dark, both on YouTube. We got a bunch of stuff coming up. My brain is not here. I'm trying, Daphne. No. I'm coming back. I know. I'm coming back. I'm trying.
Look, it takes us, Mondays, it's like it takes us a little bit, It's
lesson here is I will never check my emails or messages in the fucking morning before a live stream. I will wait until after our stream.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, because it's a lot of nonsense to start.
I'm just ready to just pour gas all over the place, right. Strike a match, and be like, "Fuck you, guys."
You're right. Uh-oh. Hey, yeah, that's true. Yeah, exactly. But it's like not everything is so on our nerves.
It's really not.
No. And before I forget though, so JD Calderon of Tall Tales fame also has a campaign running now for the Oswald Chronicles On the Wings of Deirdre, which I realized I forgot to upload a graphic for the campaign. So pretend it's here. But where you don't have to pretend that it's at where it's at. You don't have to. It's on Kickstarter. Links in the show notes below. That campaign is really chugging along. So thank you so much for everybody who's also supported the campaign as well. for that. But you know what? There's a whole bunch of campaigns in the show notes. There's a lot of campaigns going on. There's Life on Korra. There's an alien in my toilet. There's Sunrise Blossom. There's a whole bunch of campaigns. Again, you can find them all in the links in the show
Night
notes
Wolf, Tall
below.
Tale, Sunrise
Right.
Blossom, Doghouse.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Go to the Indie Comics Network's promotion page.
And
take
you
a
will
scroll.
see everything
There's books
there.
everywhere.
Exactly. Also, I want to thank everybody who joined us on Saturday night for the House of Bob live stream, our once a month adults only drawing live stream, where me and Nita have conversations not suitable for the morning. We're definitely not for the morning crowd. And we do artwork that's suitable for no crowd at any time of the day. So it's like, actually, it's just furry porn. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So we had a lot of fun. We had special guest Max DeVille. We had a lot of fun with him, talking about Mary Machine Gun, what it's like hitting your first 5-figure campaign, the pitfalls of doing a bad girl book. What constitutes a bad girl book, and just having like just having like we had a fun time. We had a fun time, a really good conversation. We were just really happy to have Max DeVille with us on the show, because it turned out he was in the hospital for 2 days during the week. He hit 5 figures and almost had a heart attack. So it's like, no, that's always supposed to be a figure of speech. You're not supposed to actually have one, but but he's okay. Max is okay, and he was able to join us, and we had a good time. So absolutely make sure that you check out the replay of that show on the Indie Comics Network. If you were trying to find it on my channel at Daphne Lage Art, we had a little snag, but that's okay. It's all fixed now. We weren't streaming live to the channel. However, I did upload the replay to my channel. So if you'd rather watch it on my on Daphne Lage Art, the episode is there as well. It's just that it doesn't have the chat because it's an upload.
Because Nita fucked up.
Because Nita just forgot. Look, we have so many accounts attached to our StreamYard. It's bound to happen. There are times that I've almost forgotten to put my own channel. Hey Jake. Yes, and also speaking of Jake, we're gonna get him on for the February anti-Valentine's Day edition.
February 25th.
February 25th. So we're good, right? We're good, Jake. You're gonna be there, right? So we will be talking to our hentai academic Jake Twister, and and we will be probably just talking about just manga and hentai and all that fun stuff on that February edition of House of Bob. So make sure you're subscribed to the Indie Comics Network and the Indie Comics Network After Dark, because pretty much that's where it's going to be. But yes, if you were checking it out on my channel, the upload is there. But like I said, you miss out on the chat, which is kind of a shame, because half the fun is reading the chat while our nonsense is going on the screen. But it's there. So for those of you who missed it, you have all the choices. So yeah, it's like, that
is a solid date.
That is, it's the, what is it, February
25th at 8 p.m. Eastern.
There you go. Yeah, so make sure, I know that's probably a little, that's, I'd say, what's the time difference in Norway? We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. So my morning started out a little funny. Actually, it kind of started out that this story kind of started out a little somber, because it was kind of, it's like I only found the account because it turned out a mutual friend of ours had passed. So we had a friend. Actually, this was more Jose's friend, JD's friend, because they went to high school together. And the last time we saw Vincent was like years ago, literally, in decades. I mean, but the thing is, though, it's like, he was running in the vampire goth scene. He actually did he actually did Vampire Teeth. for a living. It was really interesting. And yeah, and he was just, just a major player in that scene. And he went by the name Father Vincent in the New York City goth scene. And yeah, and it turned out that he recently passed away. And honestly, it's like I was really upset by it. Jose was really upset by it because of the fact that, it's been so long since we had seen him. So I was trying to find some information about him, and I came across a post where I didn't know some of our mutual friends also knew him as well. Like I didn't think they knew it, they knew him. And one of the people who knew him was Nelson DeCastro. No, not was it Nelson DeCastro? No, it's like, you know what? hold on. Let me make sure I'm not confusing the name with anybody. Yeah, Nelson. Yes, Nelson DeCastro. Jesus Christ, because that's how long it's been since I've seen him. Me and Nelson went to SVA together back in the day, and I think it's like we had Carmine Infantino's class together. We took an airbrush class together and whatnot. And and also I've been seeing Nelson in the local convention scene here in New York. For those of you who are not familiar with him, Nelson is predominantly a Marvel and DC artist. He's famous for this airbrushed Ghost Rider cover that came out again back in the day. It's like I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to find a year here. It's like for that original 1991 shit. Yeah, that cover came out in 1991. So I think if I'm trying to remember correctly, it's like if he actually brought in that piece to class to show off at the time. So, well, right now, all these years later, so I ended up friending him on Facebook, and all these years later, he's now a teacher at SVA. And I guess it's like, and so he contacted me this morning, and he went, oh, it's like it's like really nice to see you again and whatnot. And it's like, I was just looking over your Facebook page, and I see you have all these pencils. Can I actually get some of your pencils to use in my class at the School of Visual Arts? Because the kids, these are fucking college students. They're complaining that they're fed up with inking Marvel and DC stuff. So I was like going, oh my God, that'd be so much fun. It's like, what, nice to hear from you again, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yes. So I went looking into my archives, and I pulled out a batch of Tall Tales pages, because you know what? It's like, if we're going to make sure these kids regret their decision, it's to send them a batch of furry art, and, so I told him, it's like, look, so I sent him the 8 pages, and I go, look, if you actually do use these pencils in your class, I would absolutely love to see what they do with this. It's like how they ink them, because yeah, it's like, because it's like my pencils are not really tight. It's like not the way like a Jim Lee type pencil. It's more kind of like probably a little bit around like a John Buscema type, really like rough pencils, so it's like, so his students really have to show their mettle when they're inking my stuff, because they're not technically tracing. You see, when I ink my stuff, I'm tracing because I know where all the lines are. But if somebody else is looking at this stuff, it might not be as clear. So so I'm really interested to see what it would look like to have like 30 students ink my work, and I don't know, for all I know, I might find somebody I might like. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, because I wanted to ask him, because it's like, as kind of as a joke, but kind of sort of, it's like, you're not teaching a coloring class or a digital coloring class, are you? Because it's like, I could send, I can absolutely, Chad. Because I could absolutely, used to see, used to see like how 30 students can color my stuff, just to see like, but yeah, so that was like pretty interesting, the thought of my artwork being used in a classroom setting. But yeah, that's, so it's like, yeah, there was also something else, but I want to keep that one a little bit under my hat right now, because it's like, it could be something, it could be nothing, but I don't want to jinx it. I had somebody contact me that I didn't think would ever contact me, casually. So, but I'm going to keep that one under my hat. It's like, definitely, if it's something that I could talk about later, I will. But just right now, like I said, I don't want to jinx it. So we're going to leave it at that. But yeah, that's just, so that was just the funny stuff that happened to me this morning, which was pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I told Nita in the back room what it was, but like I said, it's like, I'm not going to share anything yet. I might have to get that pin that Rob Yo on Twitter. He's a British graphic designer, that he has a pin goes, all my best work is under NDA. And yeah, it's like, I don't know, maybe I might have to get that. I don't know. It's like I said, I'm just building this up in my head. I probably should stop talking about the nothing I'm talking about right now. Who knows? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But yeah, but also it's like, because it's the end of the month, I usually have to do my end of the month rush to get through my to finish off all my projects. No, I am not. So it's like, yeah, so I just have like a lot of covers to color in. I'm finally going to finish this commission that I'm working on. I finally got all the shading done for it. So, and then it's like, there's some extra covers that I'm doing and some extra pieces that I'm trying to finish off. And then I will be able to clean off my to-do list for good, and then it's like, start all over again. Because like we said before, Tall Tales the Peacekeepers is on Kickstarter right now. And the one thing that that campaign triggered pretty much, or at least, knocked the first domino down to get that going, is I have to start preparing Eager Raven issue 6. For publication. I have to finish up the coloring for it. I have to finish up the shading for it, which is, I can pretty much do it, as this campaign runs. I can totally finish that, finally put the tails and the balloons, just the final things that I just have to top off on that of that book. But yeah, it's like yeah, it's kind of strange, because usually I like having all my stuff done a little bit more in advance, but after a couple of panic attacks last year, with my schedule being as tight as it was, Nita goes, no, you need to breathe. You stop stuffing your schedule. Just as long as you get the books done, as the campaign starts, you're good. And it's like, you know what? You're right. I do have my list of books that that I have to, work on. But so far, everything on my list for 2023 is in one, I guess, like, it's in production. Everything so far is in production that I need to get for this year. I finished the rough pencils for the special comic one shot that I'm doing. We just haven't decided where in the schedule or how it's going to fit in the schedule. We also worked on organizing the House of Bob sketchbooks, which that I'm really happy for. The fact that we got we organized it and we got like 5 books, 5 sketchbooks.
Yep.
Started on that. So already, and it's a much better process than what I originally wanted before. So instead of putting out one giant omnibus where I was like, oh shit, I have to do like 200 images for that book. Now it's like we're doing 5 books, 40 pages each. And it's like, oh, I just have to work on coloring images 40 at a time instead of doing 200 at one time. So it's definitely a lot better for me. I mean, it's like, it's like, I have a tendency to kind of like overwhelm myself if I'm not careful, especially since I'm trying to keep the momentum that I started when lockdown happened. But it's, Nita's trying to keep me on the straight and narrow, that it's like, no, we do not like the panic attacks.
Nope. We don't like the panic attacks. They need the other things. I love my friends. I want to keep them around.
Yeah, exactly. So that's so today and tomorrow I'm going to be like doing a lot of coloring, getting some stuff finished, and and it's just just keeping it moving from there. So today, if you don't know, we have a guest coming in. We have our very own Frank Forte joining us, or as Max DeVille likes to call him, Hollywood Frank.
Right.
So why did we, it's like he's here.
Throw a bump and bring him in?
He's here in the green room already. So there's no reason to keep him waiting any further. I mean, it's like, this is a guy who's done everything. So we have to get the story started because
right now.
There's a lot to say. So we'll be right back. And so go right ahead, Nita. Do what you need to do.
I'm working on it. All of our stuff is missing.
Right. Oh no.
Here we go.
All right.
It's Monty Moore. I'm a 30-year comics veteran in comics, games, and movies, and you've been watching one of my absolute favorite podcasts, Catch the Craze.
You are watching Catch the Craze.
What am I listening to?
And you're listening to Catch the Craze.
Where are all the indies at? A Catch the Craze podcast. What are you watching?
I'm watching Catch the Craze.
What are you going to do?
Subscribe now to Catch the Craze, the #1 show online for independent.
Have you subscribed to?
You are an independent. Catch the craze. Making moves on your own. Catch the craze. On your grind in the streets. Catch the craze. Join the movement. Catch the craze.
Trust issues now.
Hello.
Hey guys. Hey Nita.
Hi.
Long time no see. Daphne, great to meet you.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on the show. We vacuumed and we cleaned up. We got the HEPA filter running, so we're good to go. So why don't you tell the people who you are, who may be seeing you for the first time?
Yeah, so Frank Forte is my name. Probably I've been drawing indie comics since probably 91, I would say. So wow. It's been a long time that I've been in the game. Did a lot of black and white stuff in the 90s, horror stuff that was similar to Faust and Cry for Dawn and Lady Death. All indie published, or published with indie guys like Boneyard Press with Hart Fisher or Cry for Dawn. And then I would say late 90s, I started working in animation in Connecticut. Still did comics, but it was tough to make a living, the reality, even in the 90s doing indie stuff. So I took this day job working in animation, which was still cool, still did indie comics. That job kind of laid off, moved out to LA to work for the big boys in animation. And that was like 2002, and started getting work in indie animation, animated films. There was a lot of Flash animation work at the time. I worked for a lot of Flash studios, did some stuff for Comedy Central. I worked on a show called Kid Notorious, which was about Robert Evans, that guy was featured in The Offer. I don't know if you guys saw that on Paramount. It was about the making of The Godfather. Ooh. But anyway, Robert Evans' character shined in that series, but he had an animated show in the mid 2000s. I worked on that. And then we started working on little horror films, doing storyboards here and there, little indie stuff, and kind of moved into storyboarding, which I really liked because it was kind of like turning a script into drawings, which is what I did in comics. So that was, I felt, it was just more fun to be a storyboard artist than like a background artist or a character designer. Because in animation, I don't know if you guys ever worked in it or know about it, it's very compartmentalized. It's kind of like you have character designers, you have background designers, you have storyboard, you have color. So one person draws the background, another person colors it. You have a prop designer. Like in comics, one person does everything, but in animation, it's like you have this whole team of people. So I liked storyboarding because it was kind of more like comics, you know. And I did that. I've been doing that. I still do it like for probably almost 20 years now, maybe. So it's very cool, very fun. But you know, I've always liked comics, and I always continue to do. Niobe, Larry, what's up,
Hey,
man?
Larry.
Always did. You know. Comics on the side, like I worked with Robert Ryan, and we did this book called Selected Readings from Satan's Powder Room, and Satan Gone Wild. It was when you know, the Girls Gone Wild videos were all popular, so we did like Satan Gone Wild and Chicken Soup.
A lot, actually.
Yeah, right? And when the Chicken Soup for the Soul books were out, Robert was like, let's parody that. So we did Chicken Soup for Satan, and it was an anthology. And then Robert Ryan went to do the magazine Girls and Corpses. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but that's like a horror. It's like Fangoria meets you know, Maxim or something like that. No nudity, but you know, girls in pinups with zombies and stuff like that. So it was that was a pretty fun time in the mid 2000s, and we would do Comic-Con and WonderCon, and just people would go crazy for that stuff. So then during COVID, you know, I was like, work kind of died down in animation and live action storyboards. So I just said, well, I have to get back into comics. I have to do something. I'm going to go freaking crazy. And I just started, you know, looking more into Kickstarter. You know, I knew about Kickstarter, but I was never like, oh, that Kickstarter thing, that can't really work, right? And then people are making like 20, 30,000. I'm like, yeah, Kickstarter, that's cool. I love Kickstarter. And so I started like kickstarting. I made a couple thousand here and there, but every time I did it, it kept growing.
Yeah.
So I started to kind of use that with, you know, I still use Diamond. So I started to try to coordinate the Kickstarter release with the Diamond release and trying to make that work in a way that I could, you know, kind of double my revenue through Diamond and Kickstarter. So now, yeah, since the pandemic, I probably Kickstarted 3 or 4, and I'm still going through Diamond, and kind of Asylum Press has been around since '99, but we're trying to up our ante and put out more books, more of my own books, finish a lot of stuff that I never finished, and you know, get the stuff out there and try to get new people and new ways of distribution through like these micro distributors, using Lunar, using a place called Fair, which is a wholesale site where you can sell to stores. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can make, you know, you can get the books out to stores that you may not think are even buying or selling comics.
Right, yeah.
They don't even use Diamond. So we're just trying all sorts of different ways. You know, I'm on Whatnot now and Network and live selling. So I guess you could say we're back in the game doing comics.
Did you ever really leave it?
I guess not. I mean, like, but between like 2016 and 2020, we really didn't put out many books through Diamond. So that's like a 4-year gap of not putting out much. So even though I was still putting up like digital books, we put up digital books on Comixology. I was on Webtoon for a while trying to put up new stuff. So I was still there, but not doing the print thing, I guess.
Right. You know, I mean, so it's just like you just happen to be living the life that a lot of comic book people like they seem like they aspire to. It's like that. It's like they use comics to parlay into Hollywood somehow, but at the same time, you never really left comics. Like we see a lot of people who it's like, you know, like they only come into comics to get into Hollywood, and
it's a stepping stone, and then they're done.
Right.
If Frank keeps his heart real and true to his first
love.
love.
You mean like to sell a property to Hollywood? I mean, everyone thinks they can do that. That's not that easy to do. Like there's a lot of people that will option something, but an option really a lot of times doesn't go anywhere, or they can't get it funded, or like a similar property gets produced while you have an option on this thing, and then everyone else doesn't want to do it because the movie just came out. Unless the movie's popular, then everybody wants everything like that.
Yeah,
then you're in a
exactly.
good position. I mean, who knows? But and then a lot of people spend a lot of money on creating, you know, all these IPs, thinking they're going to sell all of them. I mean, in your lifetime, you'd be lucky to sell one. I mean, look at like Kevin Eastman. He sold the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but he's created all sorts of other stuff, and nothing really got, you know, produced. You know, Dark Horse has had a pretty good run with making. I think their first one was Virus, and then what was the one with Jim Carrey, The Mask? Like they've had a pretty good run, but other studios might have one thing produced, in their whole career. So it's not that easy to really think of it. You can be, oh, I'm gonna make a comic and it's gonna get Hollywood. And even if it does, if it's not a hit, you're not gonna make that much. And even an option could be $1,000, maybe 10,000. If it goes into production, maybe you'll get 100,000, but that'll be split between your agent and all the partners that are in this. So maybe it goes into production, you get 10 grand. If there's like 10 people plus your agent taking 50%. Yeah, like you get an option. An option could be anywhere from 10,000, 1,000 to maybe 10,000. That's just like an 18-month promise that they'll try to get something going. Then if it goes into production, you could get anywhere from, I mean, it could be low if it's indie, 20,000 to 100,000, but then that's going to get split up to as many people are now who are like the executive producers on that. Like maybe by the time you started and it got produced, like 7 people got attached. Like, oh, we can make this happen. So now those 7 people split the going into production money. And then who knows if everybody gets hired on the show.
Right.
You know?
I mean, it's like, so not only is working in like animation and Hollywood in general compartmentalized, so is the money.
The money, exactly.
Now the thing is, so you were working on comics since the 90s, twinsies, and and so, but what? So, and then you made that turn into animation. Now, were you actually animating, or were you like doing kind of like you said the other compartments? Were you doing character design? You were doing storyboards. Like, what made you turn into that as opposed to like say like graphic design or something?
Yeah, right. I mean, it was really just like a money thing. Like I was working for all these indies, and even you wouldn't make that much money, even though. I do some inking for Boneyard Press. I would do penciling for stories. I would get my stories published. The rates were just really low for indies, you know.
Yeah.
50 to 80 a page, or you know, you just wouldn't get much, or the payment wasn't on a regular basis because indies don't pay like Marvel and DC. You know, I just couldn't really make it. Like I couldn't get work with Marvel and DC. It was really difficult. My style was too horror. It just wasn't like what they wanted. It was just a matter of like, I got to pay some bills. And there was this animation studio in Connecticut called Funny Bone. And they did like really kid stuff, edutainment. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I just take this job for a year or two, get some money, get some skills, meet some people. You know, it lasted 3 years, but in that job I did everything from character design, background design, you know, concept, color stuff. And then later on in the end, I learned Flash. So I was doing Flash animation there, which I really kind of liked. And it was simple stuff because I wasn't really a trained animator, but everybody there was like really into Disney and Warner Brothers and animation. So you kind of learned like on the job, and then off the job, we would study animation and look at cartoons and do hand-drawn stuff. So I kind of took that job just because I needed the money. And as opposed to, I would have taken a graphic design job if it came up, but that thing just kind of came up out of nowhere. Like, I didn't even know there was an animation studio in Connecticut.
So all that stuff that you learned on the job, did you find yourself like transitioning that stuff into your comic book work as well? Or is it kind of like they became a little too specific for what you were doing?
I think when I do like cartoony comics, like when I do Billy Boy or something that's more like an old Betty Boop cartoon, I'll use that kind of influence of the animation into the comic book. But when I draw the more realistic stuff,
Right.
I think from when working with doing more live action storyboard stuff, yeah, I mean, I've learned better storytelling, better like camera position, composition. Even though the composition of a storyboard is horizontal,
Right.
you could still take all that stuff that you've learned and put that into a panel, and maybe the panel is just vertical, but you're still using the
Right.
traditional storytelling or what you want to say or how you want to move the eye. You still use that, except now you're composing a page with panels. So yeah, you use all that stuff. I think it all kind of
Right.
meshes together somehow.
Right.
You use it.
Yeah.
And character design too. I mean, the basics of character design, like out in LA, you could take a lot of like courses at these really cool colleges, like the Concept Design Academy is in Pasadena, or Gnomon School, or the Animation Academy, where you could just take like one class at night with this character designer from Disney or DreamWorks, or a concept designer from Marvel will teach like a 7 day class where you could be like, I'll just pay like 300 or 400,
Right.
get this class and just work with this guy who's really awesome and just get my skills up. I don't need to spend like 30,000 on a degree. I just want to learn this. I just want to learn concept design with this Marvel artist. And places like the Concept Design Academy have really cool, like working professionals that teach certain skill sets. Character design, environment design, creature design. I've taken a lot of, like Jordu Shell's a really amazing creature designer, and he's like highly well known. Every once in a while he teaches a class, so I'll take it and you get to sit with him, and like he gets to critique your stuff about how to draw like monsters and shit.
Right.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because the thing is, though, it's like, yeah, because usually everyone is like going, oh, I have to go to art school in order to learn all this. But the idea of just taking certain classes, because, there's this whole thing about, it's like, yeah, you can watch YouTube channels to learn this stuff, but there is something to say about learning from somebody in front of you. Like we were just talking about Nelson, and he's teaching all these kids to ink, and it's like, I actually appreciate the fact that he is teaching them how to physically ink as opposed to everybody depending on an iPad. So these schools, I mean, are these types of schools that are like everywhere, or are they specific to, I guess, where you are now because of the industry that supports it?
Yeah, I think it's one thing I noticed when I moved to LA that other cities didn't have. I mean, New York City, because of School of Visual Arts and Pratt and Art Students League, they kind of have that stuff too, because there's a lot of creators living in New York. But LA just has a lot of, the animations. Like LA was more like Illustrator centric and comic book centric, but in LA you have storyboard artists, concept designers, gaming designers, character designers, people that work at DreamWorks, Disney, Universal, Marvel. So you have this big pool of talent that works in animation, and there's a lot of comic book studios. So all these schools grab all these people, and they're all over the place, where they're like night courses. So these guys work during the day, and then at night they teach their skill set. So they're kind of in LA, they're like all over the place, which is I found really cool, because I'm like, a lot of times in Connecticut you take classes from academics.
Right. Yeah, they know
academics, some academics, they know skills, they know how to teach, they're really good, and you learn a lot. But other academics are not that great at teaching, or they haven't worked in the business for 20 years and they're still teaching kind of these antiquated skill sets that don't always work.
Right.
When you take a class from someone that's working in the day, teaching at night, you're getting not only an updated skill set, but you're also kind of learning the business. Like people would always, you'd hit them up, you'd be like, hey, this is really cool. And then you'd be like, hey, has any jobs over there at Marvel?
Yeah.
And then the guy would be like, oh yeah, actually we are hiring. And a lot of times you'd get jobs that way from the teachers, because they'd look at your stuff and it'd be like, oh, who's the HR person over at DreamWorks, by the way? Oh, this guy, here's the email. Boom, and you're emailing the guy. So it's a lot of that stuff too.
Oh, so it's like, yeah, it's like that's also what I heard too. Like going to school is not just learning a skill, it's actually making those connections. So here's the thing. So as long as you've been, so I say you decided to move to Los Angeles, 'cause I assume that's where all the jobs are for what you were doing, as opposed to comics. But the thing is, though, how do you keep yourself from not abandoning comics altogether? I mean, because the money is kind of still the same.
Right.
Maybe Kickstarter's improved it a bit, but compared to, I guess, like Hollywood money, it's kind of like. So, how did you keep yourself from just not losing your love of comics altogether?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just always loved it, and I love the fact that it was indie. I mean, if you want to call up, I don't know if you can call up my other screen. I could show you a few things that like I've done or I'm working on. But I guess I've always, yeah. So here's Asylum Press. This is my company's website. This is a lot of the stuff that I've done. The Bomb Swimsuit Edition is in stores now. Like that just came out. Chopper was an older thing, but if you just look at the site, this is kind of the stuff I published all through the years, and I just loved it. Like I just always love comics. I mean, I guess there's no other answers. Like I'll never not stop loving comics in the medium, only because I feel like it's a way to just get your stories done without all the BS that comes with Hollywood. Like Hollywood, you could pitch stuff for years, and everyone can get you to death. But until you come up with like $1 million sometimes $1 million per episode, so you're talking someone's got to cough up $7 million for a 10 episode series. You don't need to do that in comics. You could just sit there with time and pencil and paper and draw it, and kickstarting it, you could raise the money to put it out. Maybe you need 10,000 to do a nice print run, maybe less. With POD, you could just print 20 copies, even less. Like
you're right, exactly. Yeah.
I just love the ability for comic book creators, especially indie, to get their property visualized and get it published and get it into the hands of a fan base relatively easily. Where in Hollywood, it's just such a long, painful process to get anything even made. I don't even know how a lot of this stuff gets made. I mean, being out here, you would be blown away at how much stuff actually gets pitched in the form of a pitch or a script.
I could imagine, yeah.
Comic book, like I bet you every Dark Horse comic book has probably been pitched, and people that take pitches get overwhelmed with stuff. You can't possibly greenlight all the stuff that's out there, but with a comic book, if you have the time, you could just draw it and put it out there and build a little fan base. I mean, that's what I like about it. So like this is like new stuff that we've done. I mean, we have a lot of new titles coming out. We always have like this. We're doing also merch. We're doing some enamel pins with Fearless Dawn. Fearless Dawn, the Bomb it was originally published in a book called The Bomb, which is a trade that was out of print, but we never called it Fearless Dawn because I don't think people knew it was a Fearless Dawn book. So now we're kind of taking that trade paperback and putting it out in single issues, which it only came out on a print on demand thing. But this is Steve Mannion's like the origin story of Fearless Dawn, but we're putting it into shops, and we might run a Kickstarter too, just so people could see how she began, because everybody was always like, what's her origin story? Like she came out of nowhere. So this is one book we're putting out, 4 covers, a signed edition. And we're trying this with enamel pins. We're going to see if that works, like through Diamond.
So all these books are available on your website right now.
Right now, yes. Yeah. The Bomb is like a pre-order, but like all this stuff, if they go to the store, you could see just all the stuff that's available. We have a little pre-order thing, just so you know, that might come a little later. But we're doing all sorts of stuff like comics. We have enamel pins, stickers, postcards, drawings. I have all sorts of different trades up here. So we are trying. That's another thing I learned from like Kickstarter and everybody, and going to conventions like DCons, like people are into enamel pins. So I'm like,
Right.
I could do enamel pins. Enamel pins are cool. Why? Just like Dark Horse, I should have other merch as well as the comics. So I just using Alibaba, I started doing stickers and enamel pins, and just trying to create other forms of merch with it.
Right. So do you find because it's like, of course, like everything is like, it's like, oh, do people in your industry now, I guess in the movie industry, do they react to your comic book work? Like, do they find, oh, how quaint, or it's like, are they excited by it? Just like, or it's just kind of like, it's just another thing. Oh, that's just Frank.
No, I think they're excited about it. I think it's kind of weird because like people, it's so funny because people in comics are always like, oh, I want to work in movies.
Right, exactly, yeah.
That's so cool. Like I talked to big name people, like high level Marvel guys who are like, oh, you do storyboards. I want to do that. I would love to do that. And I'm like, dude, you're working for Marvel. Like, you're really not do a storyboard. Like, and then people that do storyboards. Like I know a lot of guys that work for the 800 and work on all those Marvel movies and DC movies, like the big name guys, and they're all like, "Oh, I just want to do a comic. I wish I could do a comic. I got this comic idea, but I never have time." So I find that people are generally excited about comics, and everyone that usually works in the business, especially if even directors are like, "Oh, I would love to do a comic," because even directors have a hard time getting stuff produced, and they know that for much less money, they could have their script produced as a comic, and they maybe sell it easier, So it goes both ways. Or even some guys just want to do a comic just to do it, to get it out there. But a lot of thing is the time. Like if you're used to drawing comics, the grind, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like 12-hour days. You're drawing the comic, you're inking it, you're lettering it, and you're in a mode where you can just, you got to like slow down your mind to really focus on getting those pages done. And you got to do 24 pages in a month.
Yeah.
So when you give that to a storyboard guy who's used to doing really loose drawings, like almost like the thumbnail and pencil stage, and then they're done with it, to tell them, oh, you got to go through an ink stage too and refine it. And then you got to letter it.
Right. Yeah. It's like you're seeing the same drawings over and over and over again in the span of like 2-3 months. It's like,
yeah, they're just like, oh my God, I started my comic, but it took so long.
Right.
But then I know guys like Stephen Frank, who Dark Planet Comics, I don't know if you know his stuff. He's a storyboard guy. That dude just gets up in the morning and dedicates like 3 or 4 hours to his comic. He works in a simple line and silhouette black style, so he can do it relatively quickly. I think there's not a lot of noodling like a McFarlane style. It's more like a Mignola. And that dude works in animation. He does storyboards. He works his day job, and he still produces a comic. And I'm blown away. Like, you're able to focus and do both and get that done. It's amazing. But a lot of people that do storyboards, when they go to comics, they're like, I can't. It's too much. I can't do it. Like it's
I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out.
Tapping out. I did 4 pages. I'm like, yeah, well, you said you had a 700-page graphic novel. Let's go. What are you waiting on?
Exactly. Get out here. About that.
So everybody wants to do it, but unless you've done it, a lot of people find it. It takes a lot of time, as we know, as we're creators and we've done it. It does take a lot of time. Like I like working, and that's why I'm writing a lot of stuff. Like with Vampire Macabre, I'm trying to hire guys to do it because I realize they can draw a lot faster than me, and I can get my ideas out there quicker.
Yeah. So do you consider yourself kind of like right now like more of a writer than an artist? Because
a lot of things like Vampire Macabre, Zombie Terrors. I did this post-apocalyptic thing. I did like 5 issues. Those are done. Edu Mena, who's now working at Dynamite, he did the work. So for a lot of the stuff, I have just written it. I want to get back to drawing, but like with publishing, when you're publishing and you're putting
Yeah.
stuff out and you're shipping and you're selling and you're doing conventions, like I just did a Pasadena Comic Con yesterday. It was a pretty cool, like small convention. It's hard to really find the time to draw those pages. Like you got to just be able to focus on that
Right.
without distraction. And I feel like I
Yeah,
have a lot
yeah.
of distractions being a self-publisher.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, yeah, because it's because then it's like you just get overwhelmed with the business side. And speaking about that, so you said that you were trying to synchronize Kickstarters with Diamond, and what's funny is that me and JD were talking about that the other day, and he was talking about other publishers who were trying to do that, and they were saying,
Right.
and they were like tapping out of that idea. So how is that working for you?
They were tapping out.
Yeah, because they said that just like synchronizing Kickstarter and Diamond was just too difficult. But I mean, but what's your opinion on
Right.
that?
Well, you have to synchronize. It's hard to synchronize it like exactly because it's easier with one book. Let's say you have one book, you kickstart it. You really have to kickstart it quite a long time in advance because the Diamond cycle comes around pretty quickly. Like if you solicit a book, in another month, it's out in previews, and then for a month you have the pre-order. Then you wait it like maybe like 3 weeks. Then you get the orders, and then you have 2 months to ship. So it's kind of like from the time you solicit to Diamond, there's a 6-month kind of period in there. So you kind of want the Diamond release, I think, to be how would I put this? You could, as long if the book depends on where the book is. If the book is done, then you can kickstart it and go right to print. But I would say, make sure you have the money anyway. Like you're going to go to print anyway, no matter what you raise.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
If you don't raise the money in Kickstarter, you can't say, "Well, I'm not going to go to print." You should have that
Thank
money.
you. Yeah.
You should have that money anyway, and the Kickstarter is just going to be, a padded amount.
Right. Yeah.
And like with our latest Kickstarter, we kickstarted 4 books, right? And all of them went to Diamond. So one at a time, when I got the book done, I shipped it to Diamond. So the books all came out to Diamond to comic stores first. So Kickstarter people are getting their books after the stores because I'm only going to ship when I get all 4 books and the last one's done. So I just tell them up front, like, hey, you're helping kickstart these books. They're going to comic shops. Your comic shop might have them first, but that's just the way we're working it. If you want the book sooner, like get it at your comic shop, I guess.
Right.
Because
but also I would think that, like on your Kickstarter, you also have like separate perks and stretch goals and like extra things that they're not going to get at their comic
exactly.
shop.
There's like stickers and there's like alternate covers or not safe for work covers that we don't offer to Diamond.
Right.
That stuff they can get, on Kickstarter only. And it's hard, the last one we did here, I'll call this up. This was, well, that's another book. This is, can you see that? That's Fearless Dawn Cole. Yeah. So this was our latest Kickstarter, right? Fearless Dawn Vampires and Fearless Dawn Horror Comics. This funded, I think we did 15,000, but it was Fearless Dawn, Vampires, Vampire Macabre, and Fearless Dawn Swimsuit Edition. So it was 4 books. It was all these different creators. But yeah, it was Vampire Macabre. It was Fearless Dawn Shorts. It was Vampires and Fearless Dawn Swimsuit Edition. Right? So 4 books, and the 15,000, I would say, in the end, it's not a lot when you're trying to fund 4 books, right?
Yeah.
With the money from Diamond, plus that, you can say, okay, it'll probably go into profit. But now that Vampire Macabre is at the printer, now we can fulfill the Kickstarter, all 4 books, and then so the reality is Diamond and the comic stores get the books first.
Mhm.
Then when we get everything, the Kickstarter gets fulfilled. See, I think a lot of people are like, oh, if it's a Kickstarter, the Kickstarter people need to get the books first.
Right, which is yeah, it's like that's usually the belief that's why it's like, you know, do you get pushback on that? I mean,
I just try to be as
Right.
forward as I can.
Right.
Like, look, you're helping fund a book that's also going to be in bookstores. You can't get it first. You're not
Right.
going to get it first. You might see these out there before you get your big package.
Right.
But that's just the way it is. And it's even longer when you have 4 books, because 4 books come out a month and a month and a month.
Right.
So it's like a 4-month period where these books are coming out. Then when I get all 4 books, I do it. But now, because like Kickstarter changed, right? Now they say you can run a campaign. If you've done 4 campaigns, right, you can run a campaign, and when it's in fulfillment, you can launch another campaign. Before, you couldn't do that. You had to fulfill the campaign.
Right. Well, that was very much dependent on, because I've seen certain people able to do that, and certain, you know, and then certain people like, no, you have to fulfill first. Yeah.
Right. But now, are you seeing a lot of people that will run a campaign, they're in fulfillment, and then they'll launch another one before the other one's fulfilled?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that a little too much, actually.
You-
That's why for me personally, I don't run a campaign. Like, I'll run a pre-launch while I'm in fulfillment, but I won't run the campaign until the very last package is out. You know, so because it's like I have a lot of like I'm very not paranoid about Kickstarter, but the thing is, though, it's like there's just certain things that it's like, you know what, it just feels right to do it this way. You know?
Yeah, right. Because you're used to doing that. Now that little change for me is good, because if you're publishing, like, say, a monthly book, I would love to have 4 Kickstarters in fulfillment. But yeah, the thing is are my fans going to be like, well, I just pledged for 1, 2, 3, 4 months, and I'm waiting. But a lot of times, Kickstarter backers will be pledging for like 10 campaigns at once that they're waiting for.
Well,
so
that's true too. Yeah.
Why can't 10 of them be all mine?
You know what? You really do put. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. That's true. It's like, yeah, why can't? It's like, if you can pledge to 10 campaigns at once, what if all my campaigns? Why not all of them?
They all be mine?
Why are you being picky with me?
But I think, like, I've done some on my own as Frank Forte as an artist, and this will be my 4th as Asylum Press. I think if you have, what am I trying to say? If you've successfully fulfilled like 4 and people know you fulfill them, there shouldn't be a problem that you're going to burn them.
Yeah, exactly.
No one has any problem that Polito's going to fulfill.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, and that man, it feels like he's running a campaign a week sometimes.
Any of those guys,
yeah,
that have done. So that's what I'm trying to get to. Is like, hopefully people like and then we're trying to do. We might go in demand, like after Kickstarter, go in demand on Indiegogo, and maybe try some of those other ones like in demand and see if that works. Just to keep it going and to get other fans and stuff. So we'll see. But yeah, I think for me, working with Kickstarter and funding on Diamond, it can work. You just got to be upfront that the Kickstarter backers will probably receive the books
later
after Diamond, because they go right from the printer right to the Diamond warehouse.
True. Yeah.
2 weeks they're out. There's no way I could like get those books and get them to the Kickstarter and mail them out. Like maybe I could get them out at the same time, but if let's say I did 1 book, not 4, maybe I could get them out at the same time as the store release.
Right, but it's still not going to be the Kickstarter gets priority. It's like, okay, at best the books will come out at the same
And
time.
I don't know, like a lot of people, they get a Kickstarter that comes, they don't even open the book and read it. Like a lot of times I'll get a Kickstarter, but oh yeah, I backed that like 6 months ago.
Right.
I'll get to it when I don't have time to read it right now. It'll stay in the box for a while. So are people really that anxious to read their Kickstarter book? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, that's a really good point too. It's like, like people, I guess they just want to say that, oh, you're prioritizing me, but at the same time, they're not really prioritizing your book.
Right.
We could go on for much longer, talking about this. I have so many questions, but looks like we're gonna have to save that for another time.
Yeah, no, sure.
So it's like, we just hit a little past the top of the hour. So here we have on the screen Fearless Dawn. It's in previews right now.
Yeah, this is in previews right now. This is Steve's new book. We have probably 3 weeks to pre-order it. So this is another one shot. And if you guys are into, ordering from comic stores, we might kickstart this as well. But here's a little preview of it. We're trying to get people to get in there, pre-order it in the comic stores so that comic stores will order more for the rack. That's kind of the goal for any kind of pre-order, is to get a lot of people to go in there, order the book, and if a store sees, oh wow, we got 5 pre-orders, we'll order another 5 for the rack because it's a hot book. For indie books, if they don't see those pre-orders, I'm telling you, stores will not order books for the rack. They might order 1. That doesn't really help us. We want to have like 10 on the racks. So anyone that could pre-order the book in their comic store, that helps us build up the pre-order. So again, this is like Steve Mannion.
Right. I mean, really, how can you say no to artwork like this? I mean, it's like, so go to your previews, go to your previews catalog, go to your local comic book shop, place these orders, because he's right. If you want to see more independent comics in comic book stores,
demand them.
You have to demand them.
You have to demand them.
So, but also if you want to get his books now, they can go to what? Asylum?
Asylumpress.com /store. And, we have all the titles. We have new releases. You could get pre-orders. There's Fearless Dawn. Frankenhorrors is my new horror brand of stickers and enamel pins. We have Just Stickers. Vintage Horror Comics is the Vampires line. Cartoon Creepies is my new creepy vintage cartoon enamel pin line. We have all sorts of art prints. Some original art, drawings by me, Vampire Macabre. So it's all there. If you guys want to help us out,
the links are in the show notes.
Yeah, right.
There we go. So is there any place else that you want to so where can people also find you outside of the website and the Kickstarter and previews? Is there any place else on social media that people can find you if they want to see more of your musings?
Right. It's Frank Forte Art, which you can see right here on Instagram, Twitter, I think Facebook and TikTok, and just Asylum Press is on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I'm also on Whatnot. I'm trying to do Whatnot as Frank Forte Art. And there's another thing called Network, NTWRK. That's another live selling site. And I'm Frank Forte Art on that too, which is kind of like, they sell toys and sneakers, but that's where I kind of sell art and prints and stuff. But you just follow me. If you follow me on Twitter or Facebook, I have links to all that stuff. And I'm always posting about new art and, new books that are available in pre-order and Kickstarters that are coming up, or sign up for the newsletter. And you could find, like here on this site, let me just do this real quick. There's a newsletter at the home site. So right here, sign up for digital comics. If you sign that up, we'll send you free digital comics, and you can get on the newsletter and then know about everything we're doing. So
there you go. There you go. So nobody has an excuse.
Exactly.
So I want to thank Frank for coming. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'd like to thank everybody in the comments for Just being you guys. And
Yeah.
yes, and I see you 9 people next to the giant eyeball on my screen viewing us from regions beyond. Thank you so much for spending this hour with us. And I hope that you're all pre-ordering Fearless Dawn from Diamond. So there you have it. Any final thoughts, Nita? Any
Yeah, so tune in this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern for Fike It Let's Draw with Rodney Fike of Hasm Productions, and that'll be on Indie Comics Network. And then tune in tonight on Indie Comics Network after dark for Shots with Comics at 8:30 p.m. Eastern with Chad Perkins.
Right, and see, so you get to see what atrocities he gets to commit on screen.
Oh my
you
God.
guys have 3 shows a day every day? That's crazy.
No, not every day, but we're running 2 networks now. We have the regular channel, this one, Indie Comics Network, and we're doing a more adult themed channel,
cool.
Indie Comics Network After Dark.
Yeah.
For the nighttime crowd.
Yeah,
And
pretty
then
much.
that's also on YouTube and like Twitch as well, like all sorts. And
it's actually just on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Because we do show uncensored art.
Yeah.
We have to there are certain loopholes and stuff that we have to contort ourselves to where it's safe to stream. It's it's a learning process.
Right, so YouTube allows that does it have to be
educational context?
Oh, education.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, we just did an adults only show with Max DeVille. We were showing off some
Saturday night.
Saturday night. So if you wanted to check that out, we do have it on the replay as well. Max was a lot of fun. It was great to have him on.
And you showed the nudie bits?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. But I was teaching people how to digitally color. So it was
exactly.
It was like I said, it was for educational purposes.
Purposes.
There's a lot of stuff like on YouTube where the guys are showing how to draw breasts and stuff, like anatomically correct. I'm like, that's cool.
Exactly.
You guys had Steve Mannion on, right?
Yes,
I saw some of that. That was a cool show. Steve's always really fun to have on. It's like a really fun,
it was really fun. But sir, it was really fun to have you.
It was great having you too.
Great to be back. I know I haven't seen you guys in a while, but cool.
Thank you.
We will be in touch and we'll do it more often. And
no, absolutely.
Books are always coming out. Are you guys going to be out to Comic-Con at all in San Diego?
Oh, not this year. We haven't been, me personally, I haven't been there for several years now.
Oh, right.
You know, it's the whole Comic-Con process. I mean, actually going out there is not the issue, but it's the hoops. Yes, the parrot says hello. Larry, it says hello, and right now he's saying goodbye.
Thanks,
right
guys.
now.
I know it's a lot. It used to be. Everybody pretty much does like their regional shows. Like, what regional comic shows do you guys have that are kind of big?
Well, we have New York Comic Con, which we just got rejected from MoCA, so we were trying to do
rejected. What?
Yeah, we got rejected. So we're not going to MoCA, but we're going to see if it's a little bit easier to get into New York Comic Con. So.
And Nita, you're down in New Orleans. What's your big, or down in Louisiana? What's your big show?
Nothing big. My big is Comic Palooza in Houston. The show they do in NOLA is not good for the comic scene at all.
Really?
So Houston or MegaCon in Orlando.
Right.
And nothing else in any other city in Louisiana.
There are a couple of smaller ones, and there's one in, I think it's Lake Charles or Lafayette, that's supposed to be pretty decent. We thought about hitting that one up later on in the year. So
doing reconnaissance to see if it's worth going to. But so there we have it. We're a little past the hour, and it's like unfortunately we're gonna have to, like I said, we're gonna have to save any more conversations for the next time you're on, which you are always welcome, as always.
Okay.
So remember, check out the shows that Nita talked about. All links to everything that we've mentioned is in the show notes below. And if you want to see more of my artwork and my projects and my upcoming campaign, campaigns, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWRKS, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites. But I do mostly post to Facebook if you want to see sketches and current work in progress and real-time updates as to what I'm up to. And remember, you can check out all the replays of all the shows here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. And join me again on Wednesday for my weekly drawing live stream, Wednesday from 4 to 6 on my channel, again, Indie Comics, and through indiecomicsnetwork.com. And also remember, at the website, you can read Tall Tales for free, and you can read Eagle Raven for free. Tall Tales is going to start uploading every day on starting on February 1st. Eagle Raven is currently uploading every day right now in its full color format. So make sure you check that out. And also don't forget to sign up for the monthly newsletter, where you will also get free PDFs from me for signing up, and also monthly updates on all our current campaigns. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work, because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.